Good evening, everybody. Just in light of mental health raising its ugly head again, just want to take this time to say to you, hope you're all okay. Please, if you are feeling down, if you are feeling depressed, if you are in need, talk to somebody, tell somebody, ring somebody, visit somebody, your mum, your dad, aunties, uncles, friends, brothers, sisters, colleagues. Don't fight it alone. And if somebody is talking to you, make sure you're listening. Make sure you listen and do what you can to support that person. Be kind, everybody. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Sky Big Match preview and a little bit of a review show today. Luton Town away on Monday, a victory for the Reds. But we're going to be also looking at Middlesbrough at Oakwell this coming Saturday. Joining me today is the Dernside DK, bagged midweek at the football, is Callum Cooper. Callum, how are we doing?
Love that name. I'm doing very well, thank you, Chris.
Good. And I'm glad to see one man here on the to the left of me. He's managed to put his trowel down. It's the Tim Man of the Red Sky team, Mr. Chris Ridyard. How are we, Chris?
Tim Man's right. I'm very stiff. I've been doing a bit of plastering in my holidays, and I've played a lot of football as well in the past 9 days. Some of it alongside, obviously, my co-host for Red Sky, Callum Cooper. If Callum Cooper's the DK and he wins the games, then I'm the Roy Keane. I make sure we don't lose.
I was gonna say the Perlo, actually.
I'll take that.
The Bolton Perlo.
I don't think Perlo ever fouled as much as I do. So,
well, given that it is your holidays and you played 4 games in 9 days, I was going to go for Mr. No Days Off, Chris Ridyard. I think that should be your hat on the screen, actually.
I'll take that.
You've been a very busy man. I've got your mate in kitchen with me as well, so he's going to be listening to us, Billy. So I've got Billy with me. So we're ready to go. Listen, gents, obviously a great victory on Monday, pushed right to the very end by Luton. The first goal from DK, Callum, showed a player at the top of his game, didn't it? Very clinical.
Yeah, so clinical. He's absolutely fantastic. I think I tweeted about it after the game. He's completely on another level, isn't he? And there's no doubt, I mean, for 20-year-old, the level that he'll be playing at in 3, 4, 5 years' time, if he carries on the way he's going, he's going to be a fantastic. The finish, just everything about him were amazing. The little touch to the side to get him in between the ball and the defender. The strength, I think it was Matty Pearson, wasn't it? The defender trying to win the ball back, who's a really good defender in his own right. The strength to push him away, and then that finish across the goalkeeper, hard and low. You just knew it were going in. There were no other option as to where that ball were going to go. We're going to end up in the back of the net, yeah. And what a player we've got on our hands. And great ball from Callum Woodrow as well. He deserves a lot of credit for the assist. A really, really good team move in the end.
Yeah, we're going to get on to Callum later because I think that he's been very understated by a little bit of the fan base, not the whole fan base, but we'll get on to Callum later. Chris, where does Daryl DK stand in terms of a loan signing for Barnsley? Because he's got to be right up there.
He's the top, isn't he? Surely he's top dog. You think back to recent loan signings that have had good stints at our club, but then not really had the impact. They've played well as individuals. They've been and then they've gone. And so you think about Matty James. He's had two loan spells at Barnsley where he looked brilliant, but impact-wise, and I guess it's easier to see. With DK being a striker, it's easier to see that impact, isn't it? It's more tangible. It's easy to see him put ball in there. But yeah, massive impact, huge impact. And yeah, Dave Murphy's absolute masterstroke, without a doubt.
We pull on to that second goal, Chris, while I've got you as well. That showed it showed the poacher side of him, didn't it? He was able to get in there off the rebound. Normally a great goalkeeper for Luton. He's fumbled it, but the desire from DK to get in there just showed what he's all about, didn't it?
Yes, I think in the build-up, Corey Woodrow's skipped past probably one and a half, 2 players, and I think the goalkeeper's expecting Corey to try and shift it onto his right, so he can hit it with inside of his right foot, and I think he's caught him off guard. And he's hit it early. Obviously, goalkeeper's fumbled it, but like all good strikers, you follow that in. And he was there, wasn't he? He reacted quicker than anybody else on the field. And even if he doesn't react that quick, his strength alone will get him those opportunities. But yeah, he was onto it like a flash. And if you're going to get 15, 20 goals a season, you don't score like you do that first goal every time. you know, you have to score them 5-yard, 10-yard tappings sometimes. And yeah, a massive goal and a pivotal moment of the game again.
Speaking of pivotal moments, the penalty, I was doing something at the time. I saw that ball were on the spot. You see it come up. You think 3-0, it's game over. Now, Callum, as quickly as Chris has swapped his football boots for his travel this week, the game changed like that, didn't it? Yeah. That's how quick the game changed.
Yeah, and it's literally, I mean, every game is on a knife edge, isn't it, really? It can go either way, and that just shows it. I mean, what a frantic sort of 2 minutes or so that were, from winning the penalty, thinking it was going to be 3-0. DK steps up, you're thinking, brilliant, he's going to get his hat-trick. Like, what a fantastic story that is. And then, yeah, Luton go up the other end and get the goal. And Mikael Helik obviously missed that rebound as well, which could have found the back of the net. Just a mad couple of minutes on the pitch. But yeah, for a goal as well, we've seen a couple of images on Twitter and things of James Collins. Looks as if he were offside, actually, for that goal that Luton scored. So that's another thing, that just another mad part of that little sequence of play. But no, it made out for a very sort of last 10 minutes or so that were really, really nervy. I think every Reds fan was sat on the edge of the seats at home. It made for a real tense end to the game. It would have been a real shame, wouldn't it, if we didn't come away with 3 points? Because I think other than that, we'd been absolutely terrific. But in the end, you know, we got the 3 points that were brilliant.
Yeah, different performance to the one on Friday. When you're chasing the winner like we were against Reading, the time went very quick, Chris. That 10 minutes at Luton Town at Kenilworth Road on Monday seemed to go very, very slow, didn't it?
Oh my goodness, did it? And does that 5-10 minutes just not encapsulate everything about being a Barnsley fan? Yes, just when you think it's going to be nice and easy and we're on easy street. My goodness, my underpants were brown by the time we'd finished. What?
I don't know.
That is mad. Honest. Why did they put us through it? Why did they put us through it? But yeah, it made it just sweeter in the end, that victory. It was more a relief, wasn't it, than the congratulations. But yeah, we got the points, and that's all that matters.
Well, you know, despite a club record 6th away win on the trot at this level, there seemed to be a few finger waggings at full time, a hairdryer for the captain. And then the captain came out after the game and actually addressed it, Callum. And I spoke to Chris before we came on air. How refreshing is it that we were told about that in the press? It's not as cloak and dagger as it used to be at Barnsley, and it's refreshing to hear that from the captain, and the fact that we saw something wasn't right and it got addressed, and the fans now know that there was a bit of trouble in paradise.
Yeah, and that's brilliant. You know, there's so much transparency in the club, and the fans really feel connected, I'd say, in a time where you could say there's quite a lot of distance between the club and the fans, with no one being allowed in the stadium. But the club are doing the best in every single way, whether that be, you know, staff at the club, managers or the players. They're doing the best, you know, keep the fans involved, and to hear about that, that's brilliant. And to go on to that just shows the standards that they're setting at the club from top to bottom, doesn't it? You know, we've come out of that game a really, really good victory, 1-2-1 against a team that we normally struggle against, and there's still little discussions going on after the final whistle, just little imperfections that they want to iron out, like the penalty. You know, in hindsight, as Val and Ismail said, he wanted the captain to take it, who's sort of the second penalty taker. In hindsight, you know, we can say that, but at the time, everyone's thinking we want DK to get the hat-trick, aren't they? But, you know, as I said, that just shows Valerian's standards, doesn't it? And he'll not stop at anything to finish as high as possible and just get everything perfect. So, you know, for me, that's brilliant.
The captain came out as well, Chris, at full time and spoke about the young lads having their heads down because they had to hang on. With Alex coming out and addressing what he said to the players as well in the dressing room, do you think that'll have lifted them pretty quickly and not allowed the heads to carry on? Because he said their heads had dropped at full time. Do you think Alex going in there, being the senior member of the squad, getting the heads up again, will that be gone now as we head into Saturday's game at Middlesbrough?
Absolutely. I have no doubt about it. We've had performances like that before where we've been second best, and when we've still won all, we've been the second best, and you know, we've not shown up at all. But every time it feels that group of players, that coaching team and Valerie just seem to get right back on it again. And I have no doubt that we'll be back on the ball next game. That'll be dead and buried. The 3 points is in the bag, and it's you know, it's all aboard the Ishmael train, isn't it? And we'll crack back on and get that next 3 points.
So we'll. Before we come back, we're just going to hear from Daryl DK as he gave his thoughts to the media after Monday's 2-1 win and man of the match performance against Luton Town?
It's a good victory. I mean, obviously it's good to get on the score sheet, and it was a hard-fought battle, especially to the last whistle. So I think it's great to come out with 3 points, especially away, and we kind of want to keep the momentum going for the next matches.
You've described every championship game as a learning experience. What were the big learning experiences from today?
I think the learning experience for us was how to hold on to a lead, because at the end of the game, it was 2-1, backs against the wall, and I think every single player on the field, and even the guys who came in, I think that everyone was kind of fighting to hold on to 3 points, and it was deserved. It was deserved after a good effort by everyone.
Well, as you just heard there, lads, Daryl DK said that in the interview after the game that it was an important win, it was a big win, and a deserved win. But he also said that there was a lot of things to learn, and being able to hang on was a learning curve for that team on Monday. What do you say to Daryl's interview there, Callum?
Completely agree with him, and it's fantastic to hear such a young player at the club that's obviously on loan as well, so invested and finding things like that so important, the little learning curves that they're going through towards the end of the season that are going to be really important. I'm not sure how many games is left, 6 games left, 6 cup finals, isn't it? And from now until the end of the season, there's going to be points in the game where we're chasing or we're really holding on to try and get that point or 3 points come the end of 90 minutes. So, he's completely right. There's going to be so many different scenarios now in such a short space of time. And for a young squad, it's going to be difficult, and they're going to need every little bit of experience that they can get throughout the short period of time that's left in the season. And, although it was nervy for us fans sat at home watching the game, if that's going to help the players, get into the playoffs and give them that experience of grinding out results and getting to 90 minutes, that's fantastic. And surely it's only going to help us get to where we want to be.
Just to add to that, Chris, it's such a young team that are developing and learning together. But then they're also developing and learning as individuals as well. Some of these have never experienced this amount of football in any level, let alone this level. Some have never played at such a high level. So there's all of that coming into one. And I think for such a young man to have such a reflection is massive. The best people and the most successful people in any walk of life are not the ones that don't make mistakes. They are the ones that make mistakes, and they make them quite often because they're putting themselves in that position. But when they make them, they learn from them very quickly and can identify what mistakes they're making.
Yeah, I just wanted to move on to Cauley Woodrow, lads, as well. Obviously, Callum mentioned him earlier in the show. And a little criticism from, you said, fan groups, a couple of fan groups, because he's only scored penalties and it's an assist every 3 or 4 games and a penalty here and there. Now, we're going to sound really clever here because our stats man, Andy's enlightened us with some stats about Cauley Woodrow over the weekend. 2 assists on Monday from Cauley. That's our number 9, obviously. This season, he's been directly involved in goals and assists for Barnsley 18 times. So how important does that make him to that team?
Pivotal. He's absolutely pivotal. It almost seems like he gets lost in the shuffle just because of other individual performances from either DK or Carlton Morris or Alex Moat. But really, he's been the consistent, hasn't he? He's been such a consistent player for Barnsley, and he's been the constant through all the changes, through all the 3 managers that we've had in recent success, in quite quick succession, that have gone on that journey, that have taken us from League One promotion hopefuls into Championship playoff contenders. He's been part of that journey, hasn't he, under all 3 managers. And under all 3 managers, he's played a different role. He played up top with Kiefer Moore for Stendhal. Yeah. He played in a number 10 role for Struber. And now he's playing at times wide right, and then he drops into central midfield. And he's played all them roles. What a professional. And I think he is highly understated. Callum, would you agree?
Yeah, massively agree. He's really, really underrated. And you just see how much he's contributed since he signed for Barnsley, the goals and assists-wise. It really does go under the radar. And you think as a Barnsley fan over the years, you talk about wanting a striker that's just sort of in the right place at the right time and a really good finisher. And that's what Cauley Woodrow is. We're looking at Morris and DK, and I think a lot of people might compare their performances with Woodrow. They're big, strong, physical, fast lads that really get involved in the game. And maybe Woodrow gets a little less credit because that's not really his game, and he sort of floats about and gets involved, but he does so much, and he's been fantastic. And I think he deserves credit for being one of the only players from my memory that's actually committed his future to Barnsley, but signing a contract whilst being in the Championship. He's stuck
on 2 occasions as well. He's done that on 2 occasions, hasn't he, at the club?
He has, and that just proves his loyalty to Barnsley. So for me, he deserves massive credit. He's been brilliant.
One last touch on Colin, because Chris mentioned there that he's been a part of the journey for the last 3 years. He has been involved in 55 of the 136 goals that Barnsley have scored whilst he's been on the pitch, an astonishing 40.4%.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, that
just through assists and goals.
That just sums it up, the impact that he's had, and is massively, massively underrated. At the same time, you know, I think there's a lot of people that do appreciate the sort of contribution that he's given. You know, got double figures last season. He scored plenty this season, and albeit, you know, a lot have been from the penalty spot, but to have someone so good from the penalty spot is massive. There's going to be key moments in a season where you need to score from penalties. We saw the one against Luton that was obviously missed. And you bank on Coley Woodrow scoring from that penalty spot. But no, that stat there, and his involvement since signing, that's magnificent. Almost 50% of the goals he's been involved with. That is just, it's mind-blowing.
Are there stats from BFC stats, Chris?
Yeah, so I said, didn't I? Andy's making us sound very clever. So he's got a good team around us.
I had a glimpse at some of his data, and I tell you what, I think he's totally underrated how much work he's put in to be able to get those stats. I think it blows people's mind. I think that it's much easier than what it is, and it's not at all. It's such hard work, and I looked at some of his data and stuff. Wow, mad. Anyway, yeah, thanks, Andy.
Thanks a lot, Andy. Right, lads, obviously this afternoon, in preparation for the show, sent a tweet out. We've all got a couple of responses to that tweet, but I'll ask yourselves first before we get to them. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. Chris, firstly from you, 4 points out of 6. Where do you lay on that?
Massive thumbs up. Coming off back of a defeat to Sheffield Wednesday, which we looked jaded and looked probably disorganised and probably worse we've looked in a while. But I think that was just the end of a long run of games, and it's very clear that 2 weeks has been used wisely, and we've come back stronger, and it's probably going to put us in good stead for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thumbs up from me, Callum. Same for you.
Yeah, definitely a massive thumbs up. You know, we'd have all loved to get all 6 points, wouldn't we? But you know, in hindsight now, looking at the result against Reading, getting that draw, they couldn't gain any ground on us, and then going away to Luton, a side that we've really struggled against in recent seasons, and coming away with the victory there. So no, a massive thumbs up, no complaints really. And if you average sort of 4 points out of 6, you know, going forward, you know, you're going to be successful come the end of the season.
Yeah, so we got a tweet from @3divred on Twitter. He said 4 points over Easter is a decent return. 6 would have been great, but can't moan at 4 when Reading should have won that game. Going to be edge of the seat stuff next few weeks, that's for certain. We also got a response from Reese. He said 4 is a thumbs up from him. Would have been better the other way around, though. He thought beating Reading would have been the better of the 3 points. His concern is that we don't seem to get started until after half time at the minute, and that has been a concern of mine actually in recent games. He says, that's not a moment before I get abused. It's been a great season. I'm just judging the team now on the fact that they are 5th in the league. They deserve to be there. We maybe need to up it another 20 or 30%. Callum, what have you got in response to the tweet this afternoon?
Yeah, so I've got one from Chris. I think it's @CW Rider. He says, was important not to lose the Reading game, which was a good point in the end. Impressive, minus a very nervous final 5 minutes on Monday, which is obviously what we're talking about. A very nervy end to that Luton game, wasn't it? Also got one from @Springvale Red, Andy Wilson. He says, 4 points was a good return. 2 difficult games and thought we did well. Another difficult game Saturday, and Warnock will want to do us over as per usual. That's always the case, isn't it, with Neil Warnock? And another one finally from Stuart Day. He says, plenty more twists and turns yet. Saturday will be tough, but look at games Watford and Swansea have got coming up. Gonna go to the wire. Don't want Big Val to get manager of the month. Let him have it for April.
That's a good point. Chris, what about you?
I want him to have manager of the month for May. That's what I want. There won't be many playing in May. Dave Swallow on Twitter @Swazza16. Thumbs up for me. Would obviously love to make the playoffs / promotion, but whatever happens, this has been a season that nobody expected. Everything is a bonus, and we're so proud of everyone involved in the club. You Reds, yeah, can't state that enough. I think that's pretty much my thoughts. 4 points is a good return. Could have been more, but for a disallowed goal against Reading, puts in a position going into the final game with teams around us still having to play each other. And then we've got Stephen Hatfield, so that's at Ginger Wizard UK. It's very much points over performances at this stage of the season. Some feel our run is a doddle compared to the others in and around the playoff places. I think otherwise. We are now on the strange results time of the season and see Cardiff results to the day. No easy games. Yep, I'm very much with Stephen there. I'm very much with all them three, actually. You know, I'm a man that likes winning, and I don't care how.
That's it. Good responses from everybody. And if you want to get involved with the show, just send us a tweet. We're happy to get everybody involved. Same again next week. Right then, lads.
Callum asked for people's birthdays as well, because Callum really enjoys reading people's birthdays out. If anybody wants to send the birthdays, Callum will read them out for you.
Oh, yeah. Love doing that. That's part of my job.
Right then, lads. Borough up next. A much different Borough team to the one that we lost to at the start of the season. Britta Sombalonga will not be involved anymore under Neil Warnock, as he said. What sort of threat do they pose, Callum?
A very big one. I think playoffs for them is probably a little bit too far. I think they've slipped away, and it's real big task. They've got an outside chance, but under a team that's managed by Neil Warnock, you're always going to be in for a game. He's going to be making it real tough for us. He's given a lot of credit against us, I think, Neil Warnock this season as well, which for me, that's a real nice thing for an opposition manager to say. But that also means that he knows a lot about Barnsley, and he knows how we play, and he understands what you've probably got to do against Barnsley to trouble them and try and take some points off them. So it's going to make it real tough for us. Going to be a really tough game, as they all are, really, aren't they? From now until the end of the season, no matter the opposition, they're always going to be tough. And the majority of teams are fighting for every point they can get. So it's going to be tough, but I can definitely I'm definitely confident that Barnsley can go into that game and get 3 points. And you said it's a different Middlesbrough side to the team that Barnsley played earlier on in the season. It's also a different Barnsley side, isn't it? Completely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Completely different side. So yeah, very confident. Let's just fingers crossed we can get the 3 points.
Barnsley unbeaten, Chris, in their last 4 home league matches against Middlesbrough, 3 wins and a draw. Is that something to look at, or is it just a case at this stage of the season, win at all costs, despite the opposition in front of you?
Yeah, exactly that. Form's out at window, I think, at this stage of the season. There's a lot of factors involved, isn't there? To do with it's been such a long season, which obviously been condensed, which has happened over a much shorter period of time than usual. And there's a lot of there in the mix, isn't there? Middlesbrough just about out of the playoff run-ins. But then you've got players that are out of contract that will be playing for a contract next season. They've got players on loan that will be trying to put themselves in the shop window as well. So, yeah, I don't think we'll be playing a Middlesbrough team with the flip-flops on just yet. And we'll have to do ourselves justice and ensure we take his A game there, Chris.
Yeah, there's been an emphasis on set pieces this season for Barnsley. Middlesbrough have conceded 9 from set pieces this season, 21% of their total goals conceded. Barnsley have scored 15 from set pieces, nearly 30% of the goals we've scored. Is that something that will have been looked at in training this week, lads?
Definitely. Like Callum's mentioned it so many times on commentary about how influential we are from set piece and how dangerous we look. I mean, it's very difficult for us, Chris. Obviously, we've just seen him on a screen, so it's hard sometimes to look at the physicality. Callum, you're there quite often. The physicality is pretty much on show, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. You think when sort of all the big lads are on the pitch, you've got Daryl Dike, Carlton Morris, Mikael Helik, Apo Halme, Mads Anderson as well, who's been heavily involved with assists from set pieces. It's a really big physical side now, a really imposing side. And if you think of a team that needs to be successful in a league, scoring from set pieces, you can score when you're not necessarily playing well. You just win a free kick in and around the area, or you get a corner. You've got a chance to knock the ball into the box, and anything can happen, as we've seen so many times for this Barnsley team. We've been so threatening from them. So no, that's a massive advantage to have that sort of weapon in your arsenal. It can just turn a game on its head at any moment.
I feel like Moat's deliveries have got better as well as season have gone on. It's very rare you see a poor free kick now from Alex Moat. He delivered a few again this week, That's pivotal, isn't it? You've got to get that delivery in there, and he's the man for it.
Big point on putting pressure on the goalkeeper as well. I know it didn't work out against Reading, but a lot of the corners now from Alex are on that goalkeeper's on the line, basically. Nowhere for the defenders to go, nowhere for the goalkeeper to go. Chris, what's your prediction then for Saturday? What do you see as a scoreline?
I see a Barnsley 3-1 win, Chris. I think we'll I think we'll be all right.
I think I'm going to say 2-0. I think we can get through a game with a clean sheet. Callum, what about yourself?
Yeah, well, I've already said I think it'll be tough against a Neil Warnock side, so I'm going to go with the scoreline that's happened so many times this season. I'm going to say 2-1 Barnsley.
Excellent. Well, listen, we want to thank everybody for listening, and everybody for watching. This has been your big match preview with a little bit of review and some nice stats thrown in from Andy Statsman. Just want to say to everybody, we've got a lot of stuff going on social. You can catch us on Audioboom, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter as well. So it is up on all them channels. And I've got to say, it's goodbye from me. Chris?
Goodbye from me.
Callum?
Goodbye from me.
You Reds.
You Reds.
You Reds.